Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raver Bushcraft. Thank you for watching our video. This week I'm going to talk a little bit about axe sharpening. So a few weeks ago I did a video on bushcraft tools and knife, folded saw, axe. So I thought I'd just do a little short video today on just getting one sharp again. So what I've got here is a Gransford Brooks wildlife hatchet. This one's Nicola's actually. So the difference between an axe and a hatchet. Hatchet is something typically that you're going to use one-handed. So an axe is more of a two-handed tool. These are lovely. I like these a lot. The wildlife hatchets. It's just a perfect size to slip into your rucksack, whether that's a day bag or an overnight bag. And you can do most of the things that you need to do with one of these. So it's a great utility tool to have around. So in terms of sharpening it, typically I'm going to use one of these. So this is a sharpening puck, and this one comes from Gransford Brooks again. So it's a fine side and a coarse side, and so the fine side, we've got 4 little dots just on the cover. There are also 4 dots on the side, and I'm not sure if you can see them from on the camera there, but I've got 4 little dots. They are kind of faded a little bit, so there's 4 dots on that side. The coarse side, in contrast, has 3 triangles on it, and again we've got the triangles on the side. Where are they? Yeah, kind of there. So as I say, it is a little bit faded on this one now. So we're going to, depending on how much sharpening your axe is going to need, you can either start with the coarse side and then swap to the fine, or you might be able to just go straight to the fine side. So I'm going to have a few spins on the coarse side first. So these will work either wet or dry. So you can lubricate them if you wish, or you can kind of go with it as a dry stone. I do prefer to just get a little bit of liquid on it there, just to get it a bit wet. Actually, I've just stuck my hand in my cup of tea. Mostly drunk, just a dribble in the bottom. I'm not going to finish it now. So in terms of sharpening it, what we're going to do is, so this is a circular motion, so that kind of like that. And so what I'm going to do is just put it onto the edge of the stone and turn it, so like this. So if you could see my body position, I've got the axe so that I can look down on the edge, and so I can see the angle that I need to get the stone at, or the puck, against the edge. So I'm just kind of in this circular motion, nice and gentle, like so. When it comes to sharpening a knife, one of the things that we're always keen to explain is that you kind of go forward on one side and then forward on the other side the same number of times, and it's really important, and it's because if you're only to sharpen on one side, then essentially you're going to move the edge of a knife off center. The same thing is true with an axe. So you could kind of count the number of rotations if you like, or maybe just have just a mental count in your head of 5 seconds on one side, swap over to 5 on the other. I typically do 8 or so seconds on it. So what I do now is turn over, and now I'm holding it this way, but again what I can do is look straight down here to see the angle, what's going on. So I want to be able to see what's going on, rather than if I'm just kind of doing it down here, I'm virtually working blind. It's really important that I can see that I've got the angle of the puck against the edge correctly. So I'll do about the same this side. Like that, and now I can go back to the other side, like so. in terms of how sharp does your axe need to be, quite often when we're running courses here and we'll talk about axes and people will say, so I suppose you don't need your axe to be as sharp as your knife. No, that is entirely incorrect. You need your axe to be as sharp as you would have your knife. So how sharp is that? Well, bearing in mind that the whole process of sharpening is removing metal, and removing metal is going to make it weaker, then there comes an optimal point really between where the knife is sharp enough for what or the axe is sharp enough for what we need to do in bushcraft, but not to an extent that we've weakened it so that as soon as we use it, that all that hard work is just going to be wasted. So for me, sharp enough is if I hold up a piece of paper and I could just bring the tool down and it'll take a slice out of that paper without tearing it at all. So I'll just have a look and see how we're getting on with it. So I could just use my thumb here to gauge that. Yeah, that's definitely coming on. I'm going to give it one more go on the coarse side and then swap over to the fine. Like that. And now what I can do is just swap it over and do the same thing on the fine side. So it's going to just get a little bit of liquid on that. More often than not, to be fair, I just spit on it, but I thought I would probably not do that for the video. Just have a look, see how we're getting on with it. Yeah, that's definitely getting there. I'm going to give that another go. One more go with the fine side here, and then we'll be ready to give it a little, a quick strop and a little test. So I've given it, I don't know, maybe 5-6 goes there on each side with the stone. With the puck, I should say. Quick wipe. And down here I've got just a little bit of leather that I use for stropping the knives, and again it does make a difference. Now in this position, guys, I need to be very cautious here with my femoral artery, so I'm just gonna bring this backwards a few times that way, and then a few times that direction. Now, of course, if you're out in the field, then go for a leather belt. So I wear a leather belt, and then I can always use the kind of the inside of the belt there to strop, whether that be an axe, in fact, or even a knife. So leather belt is definitely a good thing to do now. So I've got a bit of paper here. Let's give it a quick test and see how that goes on. So for me, that's kind of sharp enough for my axe for the vast majority of things that I'm looking at doing around about camp. If I was looking at doing some carving, then I might have a go on a finer strop still, just to help with that edge. Well, that's fine for everyday kind of use. Now, alternatives, however. So I've also got one of the kind of DC4 Fountain DC4 diamond ceramic stones. So you could use one of these if you so wished. With these, you start with the diamond side, so that's slightly coarser, and then the ceramic side is the slightly finer side. And so with that, what you're going to do is just kind of, again, on the edge and just push forward. So not quite as much as I did there. So you're going to push forward in a controlled manner and stop. So you're not going backwards and forwards, you're only pushing off the edge. like so. So you could use one of these if you so wished. In fact, I used to. I haven't done for a while, but I used to kind of swap around every once in a while. So I'd do a little bit of time where I would sharpen both my knife and axe with a DC4, and then I would spend a little bit of time where I would sharpen both my knife and axe with one of the pucks. So basically removing the need to have to carry 2 sharpening stones with me when I went out into the woods. The other thing I mentioned back along on our little video on bushcraft tools, I said I'd mentioned my Leatherman Wave and the fact that it does have a file onto it. One side is really very coarse actually, the other side isn't too bad, it's quite fine. Typically I would only really start taking a file to my axe if I actually put a dent in the blade. So if I don't know, sometimes you get when you're splitting wood that you might get a nail inside it, so it doesn't happen all the time, but it's not uncommon. Tree surgeons will tell you this as well. You know, it might have been something nailed to a tree years ago, and then the tree continues to grow and the nail ends up embedded, you can't even see it, and then split down through it, big spark comes out, and you've ended up with a nick in your in the blade of your axe. So under those circumstances this might come out, but again I would only be sort of sharpening it that way, so not backwards and forwards, just that direction. So hopefully guys that's going to prove to be useful to you. We'll be getting some more content out next week. In the meantime, to make sure you don't miss out, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care, stay safe.